Hi, Happy New Year. I haven't made a video for a little while now, but I will have one that reviews the Shark applicator, it's called. It's a little tiny rotary cutter tool, so keep your eye out for the next video for that. Otherwise, just a kind of a review of where I'm up to and what I've been up to. I have been working on another pictorial quilt, which I'll show you in just a second, and I've also decided to try and make more of a conscious effort to use up my scraps this year. So working on this design, which is I've just scribbled on some square paper. It's going to be divided up by colours, starting from red going all the way down to purple, so a rainbow of colours, and they're all going to be either squares or half square triangles. So I've started making the red ones already, trying to move some of the scraps, and it hasn't actually made as much of a dent in there as I would have thought it would have done, but I do have a whole bunch of, oh, that one's got folded, a whole bunch of half square triangles that will be made up into a quilt hopefully soon. I started laying them out. Another project that you might want to try to get use up your scraps is the Canadian Quilters Association 52 blocks in 52 weeks. So every Tuesday, Jackie White, the designer of the blocks, will release a new pattern, and they're available for 3 weeks. And that was week 1, week 2, and that's where we're up to right now. So there's another 50 weeks yet, and you can just use your scraps up, and it's a good way of using those up. And I have no idea what it's going to look like when it's done, but I guess it will be kind of a mystery block sampler kind of quilt, and you could make multiple blocks if you wanted. She gives you instructions on adding sashing if you want to make it bigger than it's going to be if they were all just buttered together. So I've just kind of been working through my scraps on that. This morning I was unfortunate enough to stand on this giant needle, and it's quite thick. It's one of those tulip milliner's needles, and I use it for binding sometimes, but usually very good at not leaving things lying around, but it must have rolled off my table without me realising it, and I had a bit of a tidy up and what have you, and I just walked through the room and felt it, and it went into my foot here, and it was probably about that deep. And so I'm still a bit freaked out about that. Alright, so my classes coming up at my sewing room, I have the Fox class, which is my applique technique from Paint by Number Quilts, and it's the Fox project. So that's that guy there. That will be a 3-week class, because we've got week 1 where we can choose the fabrics, make sure everything works nicely together, make the templates. Week 2 is starting to put the top together, and week 3, there'll be some homework between 2 and 3, but week 3 will be quilting it. So that's the plan with that, and I'm also doing English paper piecing and taking a couple of months off over the summer. Now looking forward to probably late summer, early sort of autumn time, I want to do this quilt as a class. This is the Our Song Your Reflection pattern with the swan and the Lone Star design. So there's a bit of paper piecing, there's some Y seams, there's some very careful colour choices that need to be made. So I think I'm going to make mine exactly the same as the pattern cover and buy the exact colours it says, or get as close to that as possible. So that's something else I'll be working on over the next few weeks. Plus I have a couple of projects for magazines in the US that should be appearing any sort of month soon, and I have 2 projects for Make Modern that I'm working on as well. One of them's very nearly done. Alright, so I did mention at the beginning that I started making another pictorial quilt, and I wanted to try putting some piecing in it this time. It's kind of been put in improvisationally, but it's still kind of traditional piecing, and it's still uniform. So this is what I finished gluing together this morning. So it's in the shape of Hank when he lays down. You can see the seams because I haven't got batting underneath there just yet. But I put in this strip of flying geese that's sort of in the shape of the way that he's laid, and some just some squares, pieced those in as well. So I'm not sure when I'm going to get around to quilting that, but it's probably going to be soon because I like to finish these up. A really important thing that I forgot to mention, I was on the Pat Sloan podcast on Monday. So if you have a look back, I was the first guest, so hopefully you'll listen to the whole thing anyway, but you'll be able to find me quite easily. If you look for the American Patchwork and Quilting podcast, it's the most recent episode. I think it went pretty well. Talked about how I put the quilts together and the stories behind the creation of my book and that kind of thing. So if you want to have a look at that, give that a listen. It's free and it's on both Apple and Android podcast players. And that's about it really for the time being. Hopefully I'll have another catch up soon, and just keep your eye out for that tour review.